Oh, yeah, killed. It was a bad day in that game. I was over 80. Tell you that much. He did defense. Not much action.
Tayshaun, it's obvious out there on national TV, we got to ask the question, in the moment, when you see Jefferson laying there on the ground, what's going through your mind?
I can't tell you, man. Honestly, it's one of those plays where in my 10-year career, I don't think I've been a part of. If you play that play between me and Eddie, 10 times out of 10, one of us tag him down. Too much football IQ between the two of us to let a play like that happen. So obviously, it's just one of them things will keep you up at night. You can deal with a lot of things, but we touch him down. You never know how that changed the momentum. Just like they got to stop on a turnover in the red zone, change the momentum for them. Who knows what that could have did for us? So obviously, man, that's tough, man. Something as simple as touching a guy down. They teach you that. In Little League, obviously, it's just a play that can't happen, shouldn't have happened, and won't happen again, man. As long as I'm employed by the National Football League, and I'm sure Eddie feel the same way.
So separate from that, and obviously nobody wants to or is going to call out individuals, but there were obviously a lot of either mistakes or miscommunication in coverages.
Yep.
Why do you think that was?
It could be a testament to a lot of things. I think that week one in the NFL is always kind of that, jitters. We can say a lot of things. Obviously, there was a lot of uncharacteristic football around the league, and we're human. Same thing, man. It's no excuse, but obviously, getting on the same page with each other. Missing that time during training camp. Sometimes, trying to get on the same page with each other. No finger pointing, obviously, man. At the end of the day, when you give up plays like that on the back end, it's collectively a collective situation that all of us that we take ownership in, and obviously we just got to do better. It wasn't nothing that they did. It wasn't that their players was just better than us, and making contestant catches. You can live with those. It's just the blown coverages that we just didn't give ourselves a chance, and that's the most disappointing part about it, because you understand that those guys get paid just like we do, but I mean, a high school player could have ran scot-free open and caught passes like that. So I take my ownership in my hand in the things that happened on Sunday, and we vowed to never let that happen again.
Sean, what in your mind happened on the one where Cooper Kupp got behind the whole secondary?
That just was it was a brain fart, man, on the secondary, myself included. I take ownership on that play. Is it just we all got to be on the same page. Myself, all of us. But I take ownership on that play. And like I say, it wasn't nothing that they did. It was solely on us. It wasn't a game plan. It wasn't a scheme. It wasn't route concepts. It was truly 100% on us. And plays like that was the tail of the tape, man, in the game. So it was just frustrating.
Was Marquise supposed to be passing Kupp onto you on that play? Is that what you're saying, or what kind of led to that breakdown?
Again, man, I take full responsibility of that play. So no matter how you slice it, no matter what, I'm the safety on the back end. It's our responsibility, and I take ownership on that play there. So. If anybody else come up here and say different, man, I'll be the one to take responsibility on that play.
It's early in the season, and obviously you don't want those plays to happen, but is there a benefit for them happening now so it can kind of a teaching moment for you guys in the secondary?
Like I say, honestly, and I talked to Eddie. I talked to, we had talk at length, man. Honestly, everybody around us could panic. I could sit up here and say that, I'm disappointed. We very much disappointed in, obviously, the outcome. That's definitely not what we wanted to do. National TV or not. Playing in front of 100,000 or 5,000, that just was unacceptable. But it's correctable things. These are the mistakes that when you watch this tape, man, these are mistakes that we did to ourselves. So you can live with that. It's not technique errors. It's not the physical part of the game where you say, hey, man, that we was just outmatched. Then, but it's the mental side. you can fix that, man. I think that all of these was mental errors that just shouldn't happen, can't happen, and won't happen. It shouldn't happen that often in one game, at least. It's going to happen in the National Football League. That's part of the game, but shouldn't happen that many times in the National Football League in one particular game. So that's why I'm not too concerned, obviously, because, like I said, man, these are mental errors that is easily correctable. And obviously, if we can't correct them, then we shouldn't be out there. So, moving forward, obviously, we just got to tighten up and figure things out. But there's no need to panic. I can sit here and say I'm not panicked one bit whatsoever. So, and I think that we go back to the drawing board and fix it. So.
So why did they happen then? If it's easily correctable, then it should be easily preventable in the first place.
It's part of life, man. I mean, everybody make mistakes. You made mistakes. I made mistakes before. It's life. So at the end of the day, when I say it's easily correctable, it's like nothing that I'm worried about happening continuously, game after game after game. These are routine mistakes. I mean, if you look around the league, many people has messed up cover 2, cover 4s, cover 1s. It's part of the game. But like I say, I take ownership in saying that it shouldn't happen that often in one particular game. But, it's the first game of the season. You look around the league, man, it was a lot of uncharacteristic footballs from guys that you probably would have expected more. We expected more from ourselves on the back end, and we had some uncharacteristic mental lapses out there. And, it's part of the game. So no matter how you slice it, I'm not panicked. If you ask anybody else to come up here, I don't think nobody else panicked about this, man. That's a good football team. Can't take nothing away from them, but it's nothing that they did. We all did it to ourselves.
What was it like in the locker room after that game? You guys, as a defense, sitting there, this is not something that you guys are used to at all. I mean, is it silence? Is it anger? What's going on after that?
It's a normal locker room, man. Just truly, anytime you lose, whether you lose by 1 point, whether you lose by 50 points, I mean, the feeling of losing a national football game, all these games is important. So whether it's week 1 or week 17, the sting of losing resonate through everybody in the locker room. So the move will be what you would expect after losing a game and, not playing particularly the way that we wanted to, offensively, defensively, special teams. Obviously, the move probably was what you would expect. But like I said, man, we watched the film today. Obviously, corrections was made. Today was the hard day. You got to go up there and see your mistakes on tape in front of everybody. You learn from it, and you get better. So, guys is going to be challenged this week to step up to the plate and do what they need us to do what we need to do, man, to get this thing back right. But, again, the move probably was what you expected it to be.
Sean, this was your first game going through with Sean as the defensive coordinator. What was he like? I realized he was upstairs during the game. What was he like, I guess, communication-wise, getting those corrections in the game, but then also in the aftermath, the tape session this morning that you talked about, what was that like with him?
Man, like I say, nothing that I personally don't believe that there wasn't. There's not going to be a game where you call the perfect plays for every situation, but I think Sean put us in the best situations for consistently most throughout the game. A lot of the things that you're seeing was just mental errors or technique errors that's things that you can fix. Nothing to be too concerned about, but obviously there was some calls that we just have to take advantage of the opportunities when he called those plays. But I didn't see any panic from Sean or anything like that. Obviously, I'm not on the headset like Roquan. Roquan could probably give you a better answer to that one. But, the film session was hard. It was tough, man. It was a lot of ugly plays out there. It was truly a lot of ugly plays out there, man, on every level. But, as a secondary, man, it's just, the spotlight is always on you. If they give up a touchdown, you're going to know exactly who gave up that touchdown. So, obviously, it was a little harder for us on the back end, and obviously it came down to us. We didn't do our job on the back end, and we gave up plays that we shouldn't have, and that cost us the game. So the film session was a bit hard, but that's what it's expected to be, man. We got tough skin. You get paid a lot of money, man. You got to be able to be coachable, and he coached us hard, and it's just one of those type of days where the film is. When you go to film on Monday, sometimes it's not as bad as you think. And when you have a great game, sometimes it's not as good as you think. But today was bad as it looked on Sunday. And, the good thing about it is it's the first game, man. Now we got 17 games, so now we got 16 more games to play. So you just got to look at that, man, and go from there.
So now you're happy with the 17th game?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Marquise, there was not a lot of chances to push the ball down the field Sunday night. Overall, was that what you expected, your first Bears experience, or were you even a little surprised that you weren't able to push the ball a little bit more?
I was just really expecting to get opportunity to play. I wasn't expecting any certain plays or formations or anything. Just was looking forward to playing.
Do you feel like you get to use your best assets and your speed in the way that you were used Sunday night?
I feel like I got used the best way that Coach wanted to use me on Sunday. So, obviously it's a variable that I have no control over. So I just focus on what I can, and it's just being fast and catching the ball if it comes my way.
Marquise, you're on the other side of Justin Fields' first completion. Can you take us through that play from your perspective?
Shout out to Jay Fields for the assist. His first of his career. Got many more to come, but I ran a simple out route. Jalen Ramsey outside. Simple out route, completion. It's a simple play.
What changes for you guys when he's in there? He brings mobility, he brings some different things. What changes as far as the way the defense reacts? What does that open up for you guys?
Well, that's something that you probably have to ask Coach. For me, it doesn't change much for me. Just make sure that I'm available for him as I would be for any of the other quarterbacks.
Were you aware that he was coming into the huddle for that play? And what was he like when he kind of stepped in for his first snap?
That was actually my first play of the game, so I wasn't aware at all. I was running in, and I looked back, and he was the one calling the play, so that was it. But, I've worked with both quarterbacks throughout the week, so it wasn't alarming or a surprise to see him in there.
Is there a rhythm, though, for you guys as receivers or running backs or tight ends, whatever it may be, to when you got the quarterbacks being switched up like that and running that kind of rotation?
Me, honestly, I've been in situations where I've caught 4 different touchdowns in 1 year from 4 different quarterbacks, so I'm kind of used to the switch up. Maybe timing on certain plays, but for the most part, we all work together throughout the week, so it's not really too much of a rhythm change.
What's it like as a wide receiver playing in an entire game where everything is confined to basically 10-yard throws, where there's not a lot of downfield opportunity?
It's challenging, but you just got to work with what you're getting. Again, I don't control the plays that are called. I don't control anything but just going out there and doing my job. And, I just do it the best that I know how, fast.
Marquise, I can't remember how much you actually saw him, but with a player like Jalen Ramsey out there moving all around, what kind of special challenges does he face? And does it make the challenges of the secondary overall that much more difficult because you've got a unique player out there like
You asked it again, my bad. That was a long question.
a long one? Yeah, it was actually 2 questions. I'll just ask the first part. No.
All right.
I can't remember how much you actually saw him, but Jalen Ramsey is obviously a unique player. What kind of special challenges does he present?
As you mentioned, he's a unique player, all-pro, Pro Bowler, instinctive, like especially in short spaces, and us not running past 10 yards, that fell right into his hand. I feel like, but yeah, yeah.
All right, so now when you have a superstar like that out there in the secondary, does it make the challenge of the rest of the secondary that much more difficult, or because it makes it easier on them, or does it give you maybe other spots to try and find a hole?
Just give you other spots to try to find a hole. And that's the name of the game, just, finding an open man. Simple as that.
You've done kick returns in the past. What did you see from Khalil on his first kick return where he broke it? I think it was like 50 yards.
Oh, I thought he was going to the crib. What you think?
I did too.
I thought he was going to the crib at first. At first, I'm like, bro, why he bring it out? In my head, I'm like, oh, he finna go to the crib. Maximize on his opportunities when he got into the game. It was good to see. I see him getting extra catches before practice, during the periods, and it's good to see him have some success in his first year. So look forward to seeing what he'll do this week.
Being a veteran, has he kind of picked your brain on maybe kick returns?
Yeah, he's asked about fielding it because he was early on during camp. It was just different coming from college. The balls maybe kicked a little higher, so fielding it was a little different. So just gave us some cues to look for when, you know, watching for the ball, looking for the laces, since it's not any stripes on the ball like it would be in college. You know, he's been working hard. Obviously, I said, you know, he's put the work in before, so. Nice mask, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
What's up?
Marquise, that's intriguing. I never heard that before. Looking for the laces on that kickoff that's way up there and coming out. Why? What does that do? How does that help?
With the ball being brown and, you know, you can kind of get lost in the crowd or the lights. So if you look just for the white laces, you can kind of tell how fast the ball is spinning and what trajectory is going in if you look at the laces. So it'll fall a little different. As opposed to just looking at a brown figure in the sky, you don't know, like, which way it's going, how fast it's moving. But if you see, like, the laces going like this as opposed to like this, then you can kind of see how fast it's going.
Cool. I mean, for those of us who've never done it, that's enlightening, so thank you.
All right, thank you. So when you see 5 and 6 man boxes from the defense, is there any part of you that just always wants to get that to a run?
Yeah, I mean, I love running the ball. I think any offensive lineman would be lying to you if they didn't want to. But it's our job to just execute whatever's called, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I love running the football, but our job is to do our job.
Sam, there were a lot of questions about this offensive line, just given the injuries you had during training camp and the turnover. How did you feel like you guys performed overall in this opener?
I thought there were some things we did good. I thought there were some things we did not so good. Had a chance to go through the tape a few times and go through it together as a unit. There's definitely things that we need to improve on. But as far as our first game, being on the road, working through silent cadence, there's a lot to, be proud of. But we didn't win the game, and we didn't do on every snap. We didn't give every play a chance, and that's our job as an offensive line. And there's a few plays you can look back on and say, we could have done this better. We could have done this better, and I think that's the important part coming out of this week.
Sam, what, if anything, surprised you when you went back through that tape based on what it felt like in the game and what actually happened?
I always try to live by a saying, is something one of my coaches told me a long time ago. It's never as good as you think, never as bad as you think. And that's normally what football comes down to. When you think you're too high or you think it went really well, you look back, you're like, man, my technique was off here, my fundamentals were a little bit off, or, a mic point was missing or something like that. And then when you're too bad, it's like, it turned out we picked up a few things that, we're good, and we were in some situations where it was 5-on-5 and we did our job. So, obviously there's things every week that we're going to look to improve, and this week was no different.
Sam, how does it affect you guys when you have two left tackles go down with injury in the same game?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, but, the guy stepped up. Larry did a great job stepping in when JP went down. And then when Larry went down, Elijah did a great job stepping up. And, I felt like the communication was there. And in an environment where it's pretty loud, that's definitely critical as an offensive lineman to have everybody seeing things on the same page and through one set of eyes. So it was great to be out there with those guys and, everybody doing their job.
What's the biggest thing you're focusing on in terms of that unit, knowing injuries and everything else going into the next game?
Yeah, just working together, getting together. As offensive line is a unique position that all 5 guys got to be on the same page. So the more reps that we can get, the more we can talk through things, work through things, look at film together and understand these are the type of things we're going to see. And, the NFL is an interesting game in that whatever beat us or, individually or collectively as a unit is something that we're probably going to see again this week or down the road. So those are the important things to correct, the things we messed up on last game.
And we hear a lot about David Montgomery taking an increased leadership role this season. In the game, did you notice a different mentality for him in the huddle on week 1 versus last season?
Dave, uniquely enough, Dave is like the same guy every single day. Very stoic about what he does, and it makes it easy to want to block really hard for a type of guy like that. A type of guy who, sometimes when, like on his touchdown run, there was movement, guy crossed my face, I was able to get a hand on him, but he ran through, I think, 4 tacklers. So, like, when you have a running back who's able to make you right when you're wrong, it just makes you want to go even harder for a guy like that. And there's not much that he really needs to say vocally. He runs with his pads down. He's always going forward. So to understand that you have a guy like that behind you is something that gives you great confidence as an offensive line.
How would you describe what rhythm in running frequency does for you as an offensive line? Like the constant repetition of run, run, run.
It gives you opportunity to get your fits and your fundamentals and understand how certain guys are going to play certain blocks. Is that what you're looking for there?
Yeah, just the mindset.
Yeah. Frequency, you can understand, like, this is the type of move that you're going to get. This is how this guy's going to try to escape, versus different types of plays that we have. So,
what changes for you when the quarterback changes?
Nothing. I got to do my job. I mean, my job is to snap the football and make sure he gets protected. That's the same no matter who's back there. So it's pretty simple for us up front.
Overall, how do you feel like you guys did in executing your game plan to neutralize Aaron Donald?
We didn't do it well enough, obviously. I mean, we only put 14 points on the board, so he was able to affect the game in different ways. So it's something, that I feel like there were plays that we did do a good job, and there were plays that we didn't. And, obviously at the end goal, the only stat that matters is the win column, and we didn't get it done. So obviously we didn't do enough. for us to be successful.
At what point when you're going from Andy to Justin mid-series, are you aware that you're doing it? Is it just when Justin comes into the huddle?
Yeah, you see him come into the huddle or somebody calls out the personnel, then you know that Justin's in the game.
So are you aware, kind of, not at all like before you guys get out for a drive, like, okay, third play, or at some point he might be coming in?
No, I mean, it's similar, you know, if you put another wide receiver into the game or understand that personnel is going to change, or we go, you know, and have a 2 tight end set versus a 1 tight end set, you got to understand the defense is going to respond differently to whoever's out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.